How's it going, everyone? Session here. Welcome to Dead by Daylight. We have ourselves the January 2024 developer update, the first one of the year, bringing us a ton of updates. Apparently, this is going to be kind of a long update with a lot of things that they mentioned in the roadmap. So let's get straight into it. First off, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Our team is back in action, and we got a doozy of a developer update in store for you today. In this edition, we'll be covering everything coming to Dead by Daylight and our first major update of the year, from various killer, perk, and map updates and more. We've been busy, so buckle up. It's a long one. Generators. Kicking things off, no pun intended. We have a few updates to generators. More specifically, these changes target how generators are damaged by the killer and how their regression can be stopped by survivors. The goal with this update is to bring an end to excessively long matches, 3 generators in particular, fair enough, and at the same time, improve the killer's ability to damage generators. 3-gen scenarios are those where the killer aims to defend 3 generators that are close by in particular, and does not participate in normal gameplay, not just survivors, etc. In this instance, or making progress to those generators. Going forward, each generator can only suffer from a maximum of 8 regression events, where a regression event is anytime the killer or their perks remove at least 2.5% of a generator's progress in an instance. Interesting. I wonder if Ruin is okay because ideally, right, they put pop base kit where like a kick is 2.5%. So that counts as an event for regression. If you use like pain res, I don't know the exact number, but it's like it's a double digit effect. So there's gonna be that too. And that counts as an event. I guess Surge does like 6% or 8%, so that's also going to be another one. Hmm, that's going to be very interesting. Okay, I don't know if let's keep reading. An indicator will show if the killer, if a generator is no longer able to be damaged. In the overwhelming majority of games, this will not come into play. However, in scenarios where the killer is defending a set of generators and refusing to see survivors, there will eventually come a point where they can no longer damage the generator, helping bring an end to excessively long matches. Interesting. I don't know if that's actually true though. I think it's going to happen more frequently than people realize because here's the reason why. When you're playing killer, a majority of people who bring perks that the perk's job is to regress, right? The primary focus is to do regression through the perk. That way you don't have a reason to kick it. Now, that being said though, there are perks that will cause regression not at an instant but just in like a general foundation, and that's going to be different. So like Ruin, I mentioned Ruin earlier because I don't think Ruin in an instant removes 2.5%. I think it just slowly reduces it at like 0.1%, right, or whatever the percentage like rate is. But the thing is, like, it's not ended instant. So a perk like Ruin is probably going to be very powerful as a result. But that being said, a perk like Call of Brine, right? I wonder if they put that into consideration because like Call of Brine doesn't remove 2.5 in an instant. It removes, right, like 200% over the course of time, but the kick still was required to activate Call of Brine, right? So the kick will count as a regression event, but Call of Brine won't, which is interesting. So, and I think the problem too is like if you think about it, each generator can only suffer from a max of 8 regression events. That means that there's 8 generators, right? Because 5 plus 3, or is it 5 plus 2? I think it's yeah. Anyways, so no, it is there's 8 generators in the entire map, yeah. Because if you cleanse 4, there's 3 left. Okay, I can't math right now, but either way, like there's only ever going to be a maximum number of events that you can actually conduct that's going to be able to regress generators. And like the killer just has to forcibly deal with it is going to be an interesting way to go about it. So that's Very fascinating. So yeah, it is seven. There's seven generators, right? Because it's 5 plus 2, because that means that. So then you can't regress generators more than 56 times ever, unless you have perks that passively regress that aren't involving an instant like removal of regression. So that's going to be very fascinating, because like a perk like Ruin is probably going to be very very strong, because it's it's one of the few perks I think with this idea in mind that's going to be able to actually bypass that regression progress. But if you get rid of the perk though, then that's how you get it'll get rid of it that way too. So it's interesting. I'm very curious to see how this will come into play for sure. I don't believe that what they're saying, how it won't come into play a majority of games, is a true statement. I think it's going to happen actually. It won't happen frequently, but it will happen more often enough that it's going to be noticeable. So we'll see. At the same time, we want to address a point of frustration for killers as well. Survivors working on a generator briefly stop it from regressing, or gen tapping for short. Oh, they're giving me a gen tapping? Given that the number of regression events is now limited, stopping a generator from regressing is more meaningful than ever. To prevent survivors from tapping a generator to negate one of those regression effects, we've made two changes. The base damage for connecting a generator has been increased to 5%. It was 2.5. 5% is a lot. It is actually. And the second effect is at least 5% of the generator's total charges must be repaired to stop the regression. So you can't tap it and then remove. Hmm. Interesting. So the okay. So you have, instead of 10% of pop, you have 25% of pop base kit. That counts as a regression event, obviously. There's also, ooh, it's actually interesting. There's also perks. Because here's the thing, they're mentioning where anytime a regression event removes 2.5% of a progress, it counts as a regression event. But they're increasing the base damage of the kick to 5%, which means that there's perks that do less than 5, but more than 2.5 that will still count as regression events. Um, so there's probably more perks that are going to be affected by this than we realize. So that's going to be interesting. I think one of the most interesting changes, at least for what it's worth, is the whole, like, in order to stop the regression, you got to restore back the kick of what it was beforehand, which is not actually easy. I don't know how long exactly it takes, but it takes a little bit. Like tapping it, like if the person's hooked and I tap it and then unhook and we go back to work sort of thing, that's what it is. But like, in order to remove the progress that was made to that generator, you either have to sit there for 5% and watch it go away, or you like go for the unhook and then have both people put that 5% back. But that's interesting actually. So we'll see. This will help ensure that the killer always gets some value from kicking a generator, and encourage her to think about twice about attempting to stop progression. Yeah, I understand that. I honestly think that Rebecca's perk, where you can like help people, like, I think this will be very impactful when it involves people um like being on the like being hooked and whatnot. This will definitely be something that happens with being on a hook more so than anything else. So we'll see. First person FOV, the beta. Okay. Is Shadowborn permanently locked into one of your perk slots? Well, that's about to change thanks to the new first person field of view slider. First person field of view slider. It sounds like it doesn't affect survivors. Starting with the update, killers in first person, aka not Chucky, will be able to adjust their FOV to something more comfortable with, ranging from 87, which is the current default, to 103, the current maximum with Shadowborn. Perks which alter your FOV, Shadowborn, and monitoring abuse will need to be adjusted. We'll cover exactly how perks will work later in the post, which is good. Bear in mind, this option only applies to first person field of view and therefore will not affect survivors. And also, it shouldn't affect Chucky. Since survivors play the game from the third person POV, a wider FOV would add to an already advantageous camera view. That's fair. Okay. The Onryo, first killer update so far. A few months ago, we released a major update to the Onryo. Though some players were pleased with the changes, many longtime Onryo mains felt that her gameplay had changed too much from the killer they loved. In this update, we want to visit Sadako once more to find a middle ground which better appeals to all her players, and old and new. In the last update involving the Condemned, it would spread to all survivors who are not holding a tape whenever Sadako projects her TV. This allowed her to spread her curse more often, but many felt that this favored teleporting as soon as possible rather than during a chase. True. I do heavily agree with that. We have a few changes in mind to restore gameplay while keeping Condemned more prominent. When the Onryo teleports, survivors within 16 meters of a powered TV get a stack of Condemned. Isn't that how it used to be before the change? Teleport cooldown has been removed, allowing her to teleport more frequently. Yep. Okay. Yep. When a server is hooked, their current Condemned progress becomes locked in, preventing it from being removed. When a server is hooked. So, okay, I see what they're doing. They're trying to give Onryo players a reason to hook survivors because if they're hooked, then their Condemned doesn't get removed. The problem with this, though, is that as soon as a person gets unhooked, then there's no reason for them to not immediately go to a TV that's within 16 meters of the hook and then just add a Condemned progress to that person. That's going to be interesting, but we'll see. This will make it very risky for survivors to ignore Sadako's curse. Survivors will survive nearby TVs and deposit their tapes before it's too late. Speaking of tapes, curse tapes. We've also reviewed the way curse tapes work to bring back some of their fondly remembered behavior. Curse tapes no longer protect survivors from getting condemned. Okay, it sounds like it's just old Sadako. Curse tapes are no longer destroyed or can inflict condemn when a server is hit. Okay, another undo. Curse tapes can only be deposited in the furthest TV from where they were picked up. Okay, so then they put that is that how it used to be? I don't really remember. But they have that one add-on that does that basically. There's one add-on that really forces you to go get the farthest TV with the tape that you have, which I thought was really obnoxious because the fact that you're forced to run across the entire map is one thing that I absolutely hated about that add-on and its base kit. I don't remember if it was base kit prior to the rework or not, but it does seem like they just undid the rework, but they added the hook thing, and I think they made this base kit as well. We'll see. This will once again force survivors to spend some time crossing the map in order to delay the curse. Yeah, I definitely don't like that idea. The running around the map thing is honestly like a huge pain because like here's the reason why. The reason why I don't like it is because if um like if you have television 1 and television 2 and 3, if I get television 2 and the person gets television 3, both people go to television 1 to cleanse their thing. So like you don't actually mess with her power as much because people go to the same like, television to put the tape in to remove the curse. So like I think that if that's how that works, I don't like that at all because I didn't like it with the other version. I didn't mind the current rework because I think once people realized how it worked, it made sense. But like again, you didn't ever hook people with Onryo. You just would go on the chase forever. So I get that, but like I don't know. We'll see. Demanifested. The previous update made it so that Onryo couldn't start a chase while demanifested. This had a side effect of making it very obvious when she demanifested in the middle of a chase, allowing her to anticipate and play around it. Yeah, because she literally would just play like Wraith, and I hate I oh. Anyways, Onryo cannot chase virus while demanifested. Okay. Additionally, many pointed out that when Onryo's changed the add-ons, Reiko's watch was very fun to use. Rather than add the effect back into the add-on, we instead incorporated it into her base kit to make the add-on feel less essential. The duration of invisibility while demanifested has increased to 1.2 seconds. It was 1 second. Okay, so oh yeah, it like just increases how long you're invisible, sort of thing. Okay, sure. With all these changes in mind, we reviewed a handful of Omnia's add-ons which either no longer have a purpose or promoted strongly disliked playstyles. Okay. Hillbilly. All right, this is the one that I think everybody's talking about and everyone's excited for and or concerned for. We'll see how it goes. So let's see. Uh-oh. Watch out, survivors. It looks like someone unwrapped a brand new chainsaw. It's the Hillbilly's turn for an update. Overdrive. The controversial overheat mechanic is no more. Overdrive is the new talk of the town. As the Hillbilly uses his chainsaw, It will generate heat just like before. When the heat meter is full, not only will he continue being able to use it, but his chainsaw will kick into overdrive and gain the following effects for 20 seconds. Chainsaw charge speed is increased by 5. Okay. Chainsaw sprint movement speed increases to 13 meters. Isn't that like triple the speed of the normal movement? Because, right, because base movement is 4.6 meters. His speed doubles. So it kind of sort of adds like another 4. Sort of. It's kind of triple. All right. This is a lot of speed. That's very, very fast. I don't know if I would love to know what Onryo's number, or not Onryo, sorry, Oni's numbers are in comparison. I don't think it's 13 though. I think he's faster than Oni, which is bad because Oni's already cracked. We'll see. Chainsaw sprint cooldowns are reduced by 10%. Okay. Short version, he is good now. Cleaning up. At the same time, we made some general improvements to Hillbilly's kit and smoothed out some of the rougher edges. The base chainsaw sprint movement speed has been increased by 10%. Okay. They've reduced the size of the chainsaw's collision detection to make chainsaw sprints more maneuverable in maps with high density tiles. Okay. I can see this just being kind of like a quality of life change. Camera sensitivity is no longer incorrectly tied to the controller sensitivity settings while using a mouse and keyboard. Interesting. That was weirdly something that people really enjoyed, and I feel like people are going to be unhappy with this change, even though it was incorrect. But because it's now correct, it's like it wasn't broke, even though it was broke, but we like that it was broken. So like, just I think that people are going to be upset with that one, but we'll see. Last but certainly not least, we have done a pass on the Hillbillies add-ons with the changes in mind. This blog post is long enough as it is, so keep an eye on the patch notes, and the PTB goes live for more details. Okay. Um, with Onryo, real quick, I just think that the fact that they kind of undid everything they did for the rework is kind of weird. Um, I don't know if I enjoyed that they just kind of undid everything. The hook thing, this makes sense that they added this, but it still doesn't because people are still gonna like just play like the old version. I don't like that the tape thing from the furthest away is a thing. I think that this is really annoying. Um, I just didn't like it because like it kind of forces you to like, you know, because you're not really worried about your condemned as much as you are about having her travel across the map. You like because now you go back to the old version where you put the tapes into the televisions just to force her to not like teleport everywhere because there's no longer a cooldown. So that's the only reason why you did what you did, because now that she has no cooldown for her teleport, you literally put the tapes in to keep her from teleporting all over the place like crazy. So it's gonna be tape duty all over again. So overall, I mean, Unreal Change, they're just undoing everything with like a little bit of an add-on, and it's kind of whatever. Hillbilly update is interesting. I think it's cool. I just need to see what it's like because I understand that 13 meters is base kit for the overdrive mechanic. I would love to know add-ons that will increase this even further. Also, I really hope that they still have the iridescent where he's silent when he's chainsawing, because it's going to be pretty scary to, because like double the speed was fast already, so for him to have 20 seconds worth of 20 seconds worth of triple speed is going to be kind of a jump scare moment, if you will. So we'll definitely see how that plays into effect. I'm kind of excited about this to see what it plays like. I think that like Hillbilly though will go from being like, I think he's like a mid-tier killer, like a low mid-tier killer. People hate how bad he is and wish he was better because he's fun to play, and I think this just made him a lot more fun, but also made him a lot better in comparison. I definitely want to just let me quickly just see if I can like look up like Oni's speed when he's running, because I think that'll actually give you like a little bit of an idea in comparison. Oh yeah, see, like his demon dash is 7.8, um which is interesting. So he already does more, like Hillbilly already moves faster than Oni. And now he's gonna move almost twice the speed of Oni, and he only moved like a little bit faster. So I don't know what the percentage is for that, but it's like 100% is double, 200% is triple. I think he does more than 200% movement speed. So that means that he moves 3 times as fast as normal. So oh boy, blight. All right, we have a handful of changes in store for the blight's add-ons. Okay, so here's the thing: blight is a powerful killer, right? I think he's number one, and I think he's number one not only because of his power, but because of the add-ons that you can use with his power. He's insanely correct. So these add-ons are fairly strong, making it far more fairly strong. Okay, making it far more difficult to get out of the way of his rushing time. We've reduced the rush speed bonus. Oh, for the blight rat and crow of these add-ons to 2 and 3%. It was 4 and 6. This is the stackable one. So, um, what was it? 4. I think the other issue though is that like this they were. I think they still do the stacking. So you can't do 4 and 6 because you can technically put both of them together, right? And I think they just kind of reduced that number. What is it like 4 and 6 times 440? So like it went from 40 to 20 in a theoretical if you had both of them on, sort of thing. So that's interesting. Okay. Adrenaline Vial. This add-on has a lot going on, making it a jack of all trades simply and bring it closer in line with other options, removing the following effects. No longer decreases time to recharge a rush by 1 second. Okay. And no longer increases the rush speed by 10%. The add-on now does the following. Increases the max rush of tokens by 2. The rush angle is 20 degrees, and the turn rate is decreased by 55%. I think okay. I think the rush angle is less, so it's technically a nerf. It's actually a pretty strong nerf. They definitely removed and like toned this add-on down quite a bit. So Alchemist Ring, wow. The one you probably aren't surprised to see on this list. Restoring rush tokens on hit is incredibly powerful, so they reworked the add-on entirely, and they increased rush duration by 20% for each consecutive rush. So yeah, the ring, okay. 20% rush duration for each consecutive rush. I don't know if people realize how much distance that can cover, but you can cover any large scale map if you know the map with this add-on. Like you can I think you can like low key start at one edge, hit a tree and rush and keep on rushing and actually hit somebody on the other edge of the map with this ring now. I don't know about this one. This one is interesting. Compound 33, reducing the survivor's movement speed acts very similar to increasing the rush speed. Yeah, so whenever you hit a thing and people are nearby, then their speed goes down by 3%. I get that. We just did course actions to give us a new effect. In each consecutive rush, which is no longer each consecutive rush, which is longer than 4 meters, increases the turn rate by 33%. Okay. That's interesting. Iridescent Blight Tag. This add-on can also be extremely powerful in the right hands. It also promotes the awkward gameplay of repeatedly sending into a wall to take advantage of the effects of the last rush. We've given this add-on a brand new effect as well. This is the one where if you keep on rushing into the wall and you get the hit with your last rush, it instantly downs them. So it's like almost having like an exposed kind of thing. I don't see this often enough though. I don't actually see this add-on frequently. So interesting. Okay. New effects are enables rush to be performed without spending tokens. What? Okay. So you can rush without using tokens? You can rush without using tokens. Okay. Rush bonuses are capped after 3 consecutive rushes. Okay. Blighted Corruption goes on cooldown for 20 seconds after a successful lethal rush attack. Oh, I kind of okay. So the idea is because you can't rush after you get it down. with the hit. The exposed thing is still there. So that means this add-on kind of forces you to, like, if you get the down, you got to go put them on the hook to use up the time for this, instead of putting them on the floor and then immediately like going after another person, sort of thing. Okay. I don't know if that changes much, actually. People kind of already do this, so to add a cooldown for it is like, but also like, yeah, because you can rush without using tokens, but then yeah, I get it. Okay, interesting. I don't know about that one though, but we'll see. Now we got perk updates. This is kind of the big one, so we will see. I see save the best for last is on here. This perk indirectly became stronger when the successful basic attack cooldown was reduced some time ago. Certain killers can also circumvent the downside by using their special attack to injure the obsession. To tone it down and make it more consistent across all killers, we've made the following changes. Each token grants a stackable 4% decrease successful basic attack cooldown. It was 5. Okay, so it would go up to 40. Now it's 32. Cool. 2 tokens are lost when the obsession loses a health state by any means. It was only basic attacks. Wait. 2 tokens are lost when you lose any. So then, can you like theoretically plot twist? Right? You can plot twist and force it to go down. Okay. Or if someone's down and then you like for the people them. Imagine you for the people them and then plot twist. What? Okay. Um that's weird. Okay. I mean, okay. I guess, but also like it's definitely weird. Okay. I don't know about this one. This is a weird change. We'll have to see how it plays itself out. Grim Embrace. Okay, the artist is getting some love perk wise. Grim Embrace blocks generators for a substantial duration. However, it only activates once and requires the killer to hook every survivor once, which no one does this. It can be a little inconsistent and hard to activate. It's very inconsistent and it's very hard to activate. Therefore, we're adding a secondary effect on top of the existing effect. Okay, so if you still hook everyone once, it activates. Okay, but now the new effect is the first time each server is hooked, the first time each survivor is hooked, so you can do it 4 times, all generators are blocked for 12 seconds once the killer moves at least 16 meters away from the hook. Oh. Oh no. Because no, that's not good. This is going to be an extreme. This is okay. I'm gonna say it right now, because you can hear me loud and clear. This perk just became the meta, 100%, because you can combine this with pain res, and just because you get the hook on somebody, 12 seconds of untouched regression on a generator is insane, actually. Especially if you like pain res it and then you knock it down quite a bit, because it gets that instant regression and it regresses for an additional like 11 seconds after the fact. Yeah, this game really loves its killers. This perk just became the meta 100%. So I'm sorry about it, but yeah, the Grim Embrace just became the meta perk. It just became number 1. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It's number 1. Pain res got buffed because this perk now exists 100%. This one, sure, the killer is always able to get some value out of the perk, even if the last elusive survivor manages to evade them, and rewards killers to targets. Which this also doesn't matter, because literally, even if you tunnel one survivor away and you have 3 left, you can even force, because like you can basically control when you want to activate this perk by just picking a target that doesn't have a first hook and then in a tunnel sort of situation. You can literally pick that out. So this, I'm telling you now, this perk became meta. It's 100% like the number 1 perk in the game. So it's gonna be fun. Quick Gambit. Oh lord. This perk grants all other survivors a repair speed boost when you are being chased nearby. However, its range is fairly low, making it difficult to get close enough for survivors to benefit from without also putting them in danger. We've increased the range to 36 meters. It was 24. We have reduced the repair speed bonus to 5%. It was 8. So you give us more area to cover for... Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. This is still very, very bad. It's not any better than it was. Like, I'm telling you now, like, this is one of those perks. This is one of those perks that, like, needs to be gigabuffed. And I think people still wouldn't use it because here's the reason why, right? If I deliberately, if I want to, like, with purpose, loop the killer, and I have to equip this perk just so that other people can work on generators, like, there's literally zero reason for anybody deliberately looping a killer to run this perk because it doesn't help them with looping the killer. It helps their teammates with the potential case of working on generators, which, if they're not working on a generator, being like looping the killer, if you're looping the killer and there's no one doing generators, perk is useless. And the thing is that that happens much more frequently than you think because 9 times out of 10, wherever you're looping the killer, the survivors are nowhere nearby. So they're gonna have to just remove the range of this and just make this like a. I would even increase this back. I would put this back to this number, remove this entirely, and like add other effects that people can. Because like the fact that it's, oh man, you know what it has to be actually? It needs to be like Vigil. If one person uses it, everyone benefits from it. So like if I have quick beam, because I want to benefit from the repair speed, but not get chased by the killer on purpose, you know. So I think you got to make this work like Vigil slash like Streetwise. So like if I have the perk equipped, if someone's being chased, it gives me information to know that someone's being chased, and I can repair stuff faster. This perk still sucks. I'm sorry, I hate to say it out loud, but yeah, Quick Gambit is still a massive L perk. Moving on. Ruin. We toned this perk down in the previous update. In retrospect, the perk could already be disabled by being cleansed. The added activation condition did not feel necessary. So Ruin is no longer disabled once a survivor is killed or sacrificed. Okay, they took out the effect. I get that. It's funny because like the truth is that like this effect was unnecessary because the Ruin would get cleansed anyways once you find out that, because like once you find out that the killer has Ruin, you go find Ruin. That's just how it works. So this effect was unnecessary for sure. It doesn't help the perk, but it's unnecessary. Shadowborn. With the new FFV slider being introduced, Shadowborn is now obsolete and needs a new effect. When blinded by any means, you gain a 10% haste effect for 10 seconds. Interesting. I don't. Okay, here's what I'll say. If you can somehow make this work with Lightborn, then this perk has potential. Otherwise, I don't know about this one. Because you have to be blinded. It's not even like an attempted blind. You have to be blind. This perk is probably really good when people know how to track the survivors. I think this perk definitely has really good potential. I think it's like a good mid tier perk. Um, we'll see. Monitor and abuse. Likewise, the FOV altering effects of monitor and abuse are now unnecessary considering they added an FOV slider. Monitor and abuse allows for some interesting niche playstyles as it is, so we simply just remove the adjustment of the perk. Oh, so they made, okay, so monitor and abuse, the radius thing doesn't change. Okay. They didn't change anything about the perk, they just removed the FOV effect. Okay, that's fine. The Ruin update is cool. Shadowborn, interesting. Quick Ambit, gosh. Grim Embrace, I'm telling you now, that perk is going to be the meta. And I don't know. I think people will. Okay, I think generally this perk will go down in the tier list really harshly, not because it's bad, but because people using it will be significantly decreased because the idea of losing a health state by any means is very unappealing to killers. So knowing that this is a thing Like a good killer who knows that it's still good, if it is still good, will still use this. But I think otherwise, people are not going to use this perk because it doesn't seem like it's good because of that change. So, Ormond, the newly renovated Mount Ormond Resort is open for season. This update consists of layout changes to the front and the back of the lodge, as well as miscellaneous loop adjustments. The front of the lodge. Ooh, where's the rock? They got rid of the rock? Man, I like the rock. Although it didn't make sense for like design wise, but I thought, okay, I won't even lie to you. I thought that was the back. I'm just saying. The front of the lodge currently has a long row of rocks stretching across it. This can get in the way and make it difficult to traverse the map. Additionally, there's no room for this portion of the map for any windows or pallets, essentially making it a big dead zone. We've given this portion of the map an overhaul to create more interesting gameplay. Yeah, they added like benches. They got rid of the rock. This is the front? I swear I thought that it was the back. Because it's like a locker in the... There's like a locker room in the... You're not going to tell me that this is the front of the lodge when the first thing you walk into is a side door and then there's lockers, right? Am I weird for this? Are you sure? This is the front? All right. We're not going to talk about it. Oh, yeah, you are. This is the back. There's no... Okay. Not my game. The back of the lodge, meanwhile, is comprised of mostly picnic tables. Great for enjoying a meal in the freezing cold, but not very impactful when it comes to gameplay. Pallet loops around these tables are fairly short, making them incredibly unsafe. We have similarly adjusted the area to improve gameplay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean they added the ski stuff again. There's some of this stuff. Okay. There's a pallet right there in the midst now. That was not always there. This area is less open. Okay. Is this really the front though? I'll stop. I mean the sign, like okay. Game modifiers. While these will not be in the upcoming PTB, our first limited time modifier, Dead by Daylight Lights Out, will be available to play in the coming months. Stay tuned for more. What is that? Game modifiers? Limited time modifier, Lights Out. Okay. I wonder if this has anything to do with the maps being daytime or a modifier. First limited time modifier, Lights Out. I don't know what this means. Okay. Don't know. And congratulations, you reached the end of this very long update. Everything we've mentioned here will be available to test in PTB starting tomorrow. For more information, check out the Discord, January 9th. That's tomorrow, literally, 9:30 Eastern time. As always, we'll take time to read through your feedback and make sure further adjustments is needed before this update goes live on all platforms in the weeks following. Until next time. All right, here's the deal. I want to know what this is. This seems like another game mode or something with like flashlights or something with like the dark. If they somehow find a reason to, okay, let me tell you something. Okay, this game is something interesting. Okay, personally, I didn't play this game since day one. Okay, so I don't know what it's like, but as a game labeled as an asymmetrical horror game, it's too freaking bright. Okay, so if this lights out thing makes things darker and therefore like kind of sort of scarier, I'm so it's such a weird game that they've developed over the course of the years, because like I just don't like that the maps are all bright outside. Like the scariest maps are the ones that are indoors because you don't see the sun. You know what I mean? Like what's a nighttime map in this game? I can't even think of a nighttime map where it's not like dark. I don't even know anymore. So like I guess Midwich, but like not even, because like I mean Midwich is the scariest map in the game right now, which is really unfortunate, but like it's true. So I hope that they figure out some way to like modify something, this, that, and the third, so that they can make the game dark and scary. Because I actually like when it's dark and scary. This sounds like a game mode, but I don't know what that is. I still can't believe this is the front of the lodge. Or the resort. I swear to you, I thought that this was the back the whole time. I didn't even see this mount thing up here. I ignored this because this looks like the back, but it's the front. I'll take it for what it's worth. Perk wise, again, monitor's cool. Them just like not even adding to this is fine. The perk effect is fine for what it's worth. It's not that big of a deal. Shadowborn, interesting effect. Ruin, it's cool that they got rid of that in its entirety. This perk is still awful. This perk is now meta. And then we'll see about Save the Best for last for sure. Blight add-ons being nerfed across the board are kind of nice. It's not going to stop the killer from being like top 5 or top 3 even. I think the killer is still going to be like, what is it, like number 2 right now versus the nurse. I think it's actually number 1 because of its add-ons. At the base level though, I think nurse is better than blight. With if you don't give nurse or blight add-ons, I think blight's number 2. Yeah. But then with the add-ons, blight was number 1. I think this will permanently, not permanently. I think with the add-ons in effect now with these changes, blight is now number 2 to nurse with add-ons or without. So there's that. Obviously, like if a nurse has no add-ons and this blight does have add-ons, I think blight's number 1 still, which is fine. Changes of the hillbilly are very cool, interestingly enough. I'm looking forward to see what this 13 meters feels like to fight up against, because I think 13 meters of movement speed whilst also having no terror radius music is pretty interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. Sadako Onryo changes. Honestly, they just undid it. I think that's weird, but I have to see how badly people complain about this change again, considering that they, we'll see. FOV setting, cool. Quality of life, I'm down for it. Generator changes. The regression event thing is very interesting. I think that the fact that they actually tried to force this to be the case scenario, because this actually tones down killer's power in the long run very harshly, because you can't because like again, this is done to prevent 3-gen scenarios, but the problem is that generators could have these regression events maximized before a gen even gets completed, depending on how you play. So I think a lot of perks are going to get buffed and a lot of perks are going to get nerfed just because, well, like just by terms of like description. I don't mean like literally nerf or buffed. Like I think that certain perks are going to start to phase out of like the common usage versus others just because of these events right now. Like I said, like pain res, despite Grim Embrace, pain res is going to be a very strong perk, but its utility is going to be limited because of the number of events. Same thing with kicking gens or like overcharge, pop, etc. I think ruin is an example where like the ruin got buffed because of the fact that it no longer goes away when you kill a survivor, but I think that ruin just automatically, with this regression thing happening, ruin automatically goes up in the tier list just because of the fact that it's not affected by this change, even though as long as the perk still somehow makes a living. So like ruin undying just kind of made a little bit of a comeback. I think those two perks in combined function will do really well with this, and we'll see. So there you have it. This update's interesting. I'm definitely fascinated by it. uh we will find out. PTV tomorrow. Apparently, there's also a Survivor being released tomorrow. I already like saw the flashlight teaser thing. It kind of gives me like an Alan Wake vibe, but that's TBD. So we'll find out. But until then, take care.